I want to start off by echoing what Comrade Terence said about the arrest of the three boys or students from the Inter-University Students' Federation. Hashan was released after 50 days, all charges dropped after being arrested under the PTA. And Comrade Terence asked, who is responsible for those 50 days that boy spent in solitary, dark, isolated cells? Similarly, today Siridhamma has been granted bail under the PTA, and hopefully in a few days' time he will also be released. Now, who is responsible for the 90 days or more he had spent in solitary, dark, isolated cells, charged under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, called as a terrorist? Who is responsible for that? And our very own Vasantha Mudalige continues to spend time in prison being called a terrorist. And why is he a terrorist? Because he being such a young person, such a young youth, he gave leadership to the Arulingam, which did the unthinkable, which got rid of an invincible executive president, chased him out of this country, and Vasantha Mudalige gave leadership. And for that, today, he is being called a terrorist. Now, this is not something new. Thousands of Tamil youth and thousands of Muslim youth also have been called terrorists when they have done nothing. And this is the nature of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which several of us have been speaking for decades about. The Prevention of Terrorism Act is rightfully called a notorious and extraordinary law, where once you go under the PTA, even lawyers don't know what to do with you. Even we don't know. When we represent our clients, even we don't know when the client is going to come out, when the charges are going to be framed, when they are going to be given bail, or when they will be given bail at all, or whether our clients are going to spend decades in prison. Even we don't know that. And that's why it's rightfully called a legal black hole when someone is charged under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The rationale used for using PTA by repressive governments like the Sri Lankan governments is that terrorism is an extraordinary situation, therefore you need extraordinary laws. But to date, consecutive governments have failed to explain how our judiciary, particularly the magistrates, whom I know for a fact, open the magistrates' court very late in the night to remand or bail out suspects, how our judiciary has failed to meet the challenges of extraordinary situations like, for instance, bomb attack. So the rationale which has been used to keep prevention of the legislations like the Prevention of Terrorism Act in existence has absolutely no basis. And this rationale and this logic continues to be played out in Parliament when Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe, backed up by the Rajapaksas, come and tell Parliament that we are going to get rid of the Prevention of Terrorism Act and pass a new anti-terror law. So, my friends, I just want to remind you that the Prevention of Terrorism Act is only part of the story. We are also going to be faced with a new counter-terror legislation, which is going to be equally or worse than the Prevention of Terrorism Act, and which will continue to haunt our country for the next several decades. So, while we ask for the repeal of the PTA, we also have to take a strong stance against counter-terror legislation, because counter-terrorism has always, without an exception, been used in this country to suppress rightful and democratic dissent which has arisen against repressive governments. So I call for the release of Vasantha Mudalige and Siridhamma Hamaduru, all charges dropped. I call for the release of innocent people like Vasantha Mudalige and Siridhamma Hamaduru, and I call upon the government to stop calling them terrorists. I call upon the government to release all persons who have been charged under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, and if they have in fact committed something, to charge them under normal law. What is preventing the government from charging them under normal penal law? I cannot understand the rationale. And also, finally, I want to tell the Ranil Rajapaksa government, he made a very interesting statement in Parliament that he will not allow a new Arulingam to come about. I just want to say that the people of this country did not ask the Rajapaksas to start the first Arulingam. And given that Ranil Rajapaksa's budget has not addressed any of the economic concerns of the people, has not addressed the hunger and the starvation which our people are facing. And next Aragali is coming, and no one is going to be sitting and asking Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe for his permission, whether he brings the military or not. The next Aragali is coming. Thank you.